please be seated. Can I get this party started?
You want to exchange?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting started. So can we please have our guests be seated? On a count of three, then we'll be opening up the floor to everyone else. So VIP guests, speakers, awardees, and their guests, please be seated. And on a count of three, everyone else, if you see an open seat, you're welcome to have fun. So are my speakers, VIP guests, everyone is seated? All right, on a count of three, the floor is open. 1, 2, and 3. Everyone, fill in the seat. And please not touch the first 3, 4 tables, please. The first 4 tables, please don't touch. The first 4 tables, everyone is open. That's declared open. First 4 tables are reserved. First 4 tables are reserved. Dr. Claire, you're in the right spot right there. My lovely Dr. Claire, you're in the right spot. Hopefully to be seated.
Are you sure?
All right, everyone's good?
Okay.
Thank you so much. Remember, first 2 tables for VIP guests are reserved. Matia, yes, please be seated. Neither. Yeah. All right. And no worries, if there's no table seating, there's still places all around the room. Feel free to enjoy. Everyone's good? Everyone's all set? First 3 tables are reserved. Remind your first 3 tables are reserved. Yes. All right. Is everyone good to go? Let me try this again. Is everyone ready? Yeah. Is everyone ready? Yeah. Is this a night for us? Black excellence. Is everyone ready? Yeah. There we go. Now we have the energy. So welcome everyone to the Afro Future Summit Awards Gala. Really an honor and pleasure to kick this off for 2023. Now, tonight is going to be a very, very action-packed night. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kristen and Tim. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Startup Ecosystem and the chair of the Afro Future Summit, and thank you so much for being here. Now, of course, many of you probably got notifications or someone told you about this. How many of you are part of the GSC community and got an email about this? Please stand up. If you're part of the GSC community, I want to give a shout out to the GSC community. You've been a part of it. Can you please give them a round of applause for supporting us throughout the past couple of years? Thank you so much. And for the rest of you, I'm sure someone told you about this event, right? When the word spread, it spread. That's like half the room. Thank you so much and welcome to the family. A round of applause for all of you for joining us as well. And I do want to kick this off by giving a huge shout out. Can you please give a shout out to not only the Forbes team, but Forbes Culture. Thank you so much for hosting this. Give them a round of applause. Look at this space, look at this venue. Ambiance, 1,000 thank yous. This is a beautiful, beautiful space for us to kick off this discussion. Now, as stated before, tonight is going to be action-packed. We're going to have a lot of powerful discussions. We're going to be an incredible lineup of people here tonight. Please do not walk away without getting to know at least 2 to 3 people. I know we like to get clickers and go, hey, I haven't seen you so long. Now we're live again. The COVID experience is kind of backdoor. We're back together. Please feel free to meet people, mingle, and make some connections. That's what this is all about. So we're going to make some friends tonight? Yeah. Sounds good. So with that said, we're going to kick it off with, first by telling you, taking a step back and let you know a little bit more about the global startup ecosystem. As I stated before, the global startup ecosystem, we run tech summits around the world, but our mission is simply to prepare people for the digital age. And what does that look like? Fortunately for us, the pandemic has showcased the imperative nature of technology in our lives, yes? Right? And a lot of people didn't see it coming. We see whole nations, whole societies now are transforming their businesses, their lives, their careers to be prepared for the future. And where do we as a Black people, as a community, position ourselves and what's next? That's why GSC was founded, to take that mission around the world, here in the United States and around the world. So you are part of that movement and you're a part of that experience. Thank you for being a part of this experience. I really appreciate it. They've been in Nigeria, they've been around the world with us as we carry this mission for the past 6 years now, right? And for Black business to be going on strong globally, internationally for 6 years, despite a pandemic, despite a recession, despite whatever is being thrown at us, we're here. So we're telling you, Black businesses are standing strong, and we as a people are really pushing each other forward. That's what we're here to celebrate tonight. People is doing that every single day, right? And so I want to kick off by just giving you an experience of one of the programs that we've done. How many of you are interested in space? Right? Hopefully one day we all will be traveling in space. It doesn't sound like a far-fetched idea, right? So let me give you a look into our program at Space Tech Summit, where we were able to pretty much galvanize different speakers for that experience. I think we have tech difficulty. It's okay. We're used to it. Thank you so much. So this is our 2019 Kickoff Space Tech Summit experience. We took an entire community to NASA for this edition.
This is an example of a nano spacecraft. It's being developed by Pete Gordon and his team with the Big Breakthrough Initiative. And it's just an example of how small spacecraft can actually be. It's a fully functional spacecraft with electronic thrusters on flight control, and
We have 7 million plus people will around almost 600 people on this planet as human beings in space. Did you guys know that?
So we took you to space for a moment, right? Thank you. So I'll take you back down to Earth. How many of you in this room have been to Haiti? Alright, how many of you are Haitian? Okay, that's an understand the room. And you probably can't tell from my accent, I'm Haitian. You see how you stand, and I'm a proud Haitian at that. And one thing that we say at GST is that, we want to take people to places that they've never been and show them a different side, right? I want to give you a peek into Haiti Tech Summit because I'm sure you never saw Haiti in this way. The first Black Republic. Tech Summit right now is the largest tech summit program in the entire country. We welcome Jack Dorsey, founder of Twitter, billionaire Ben Horowitz, and including the late President Jovenel, His Excellency Moise. Thousands of people every year fly down to Haiti for the first time and see the island in a completely different way. Hopefully we see you in Haiti next time. Thank you. Last but not least, let's take it back to the motherland, where my Ghana people in the house. Can you raise your house shout out? Let me peek you into the first Black Republic on the African continent. Let's take you there.
So my vision for Ghana Tech Summit is help cement Ghana to become an international tech hub by 2030.
Many of you have heard of the year of return 2019, a huge movement of the Black diaspora going back home to the continent. How many of you are planning on going to Ghana this year? Or would like to go to Ghana this year? There we go.
It's a battle of the biggest. Take your show.
Can you put the volume up? Thank you. And similar to the other tech summits, we brought down all the biggest names from around the world: Google, IBM, Forbes, all the like updates to Ghana.
That's why 2019 is dubbed the year of return. And it's a time for us to now change the narrative about Africa. Right? So you get it, right? You've been around the world, you've engaged in many respects. And essentially, hello, can I get your attention right back? I think the video got you offline. We're all here? All right. Essentially at GSC, our 3 pillars of engagement is entrepreneurship, employment, and education, and that's the content that we bring to all of our programs. I do want to give you guys a sense of all the caliber of speakers and partners that have been a part of this movement. I want to give them a huge shout out as well. We have worked with over 600 speakers over the years, and close to 250,000 people in our database and growing that's been a part of our global community. So here you are for the Afro Future Summit series, and many people ask us, why did we even launch Afro Future Summit and why did we kick off the series? One of the biggest things that I think we as a community have always said is like, what is holding us back, right? A lot of times we talk about Black History Month, we talk about our history, but what does our future look like? And I think no better person to talk about our Black future than people like us to carry it forward, right? And so for us, when we launched the Afro Future Summit series, we said like, what will it look like when we're building our own city landscapes, when we're building our own smart city futures? I mean, I'm sure many of you watched Minecraft for the movie, and it gave us a completely different narrative of what the future will hold for us, if it is not interrupted, right? And so I implore you to be a part of this experience and share, what do you think the future holds for many of you in this experience? And we'll say that over the years, we've done a lot for the Afro Future experience to really galvanize influencers from around the world. And we've partnered with a lot of different networks. So I want to give again a huge shout out to the partners who have supported us along the journey. And many of you have been a part of our Afro Future program, whether it's an accelerator, a summit, or a gala like this. We are very, very active in the Black community, and we continue to do so in many different ways, right? And so again, implore you to really enjoy this experience. Here we are for the Afro Future Summit Awards Gala. Let's kick this off. Our Forbes Culture Partner. Huge shout out to the Diaspora Affairs, the President's sign of office. Please can we give them a round of applause as well. And there's another party of people who made this possible. Can we have our VIPs please stand up? Please stand up, all our VIP patrons, please stand up. Can we please give them a round of applause? I want to thank you so much for supporting this event. Our speakers and awardees and guests of honor, thank you so much. Please give them a round of applause. Please join me in welcoming our cultural partner, Forbes the Culture, Aisha Mendez. Please, let's welcome her to the stage. Please give her a round of applause.
For the 2023 Afro Future Summit Awards Gala. Known for its iconic franchises and global events, Forbes continues to lead the business realm, with communities like Forbes the Culture at its center. Forbes the Culture began as a grassroots effort which started with just 30 members. Today, it's grown to a community of over 3,000, with 14 chapters around the world. At its core, Forbes culture engages key audiences of Black business leaders, entrepreneurs, investors, and creators who feel a connection to the brands and are passionate about breaking down barriers and impacting culture globally by connecting, collaborating, and implementing change. Which is why Christine, who made our under 30 list in the past, came to us with the opportunity to partner with this Gala. We couldn't say no. The power of the community transcends limitations of reality and what we can accomplish when we work together. It's through gatherings like these that Forbes culture and the global startup ecosystem can create special moments to not only amplify and honor and celebrate the honorees tonight, but to inspire the next generation of Black leaders in Black business and culture. It's my hope that we'll be able to create more moments like this, either in Botswana for the upcoming Forbes Under 30 Summit, or in Austin, in South by Southwest, where Forbes culture is partnering with Next Door and Black Innovation Alliance to drive key component conversations on Black businesses in America. As our community continues to grow, I encourage you to please stay connected by signing up for our monthly newsletter. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Jabari to see how we can work together to progress the Afro future communities and redefine Black excellence in this digital age. I just want to thank Christine and the Global Startup Ecosystem for this partnership. I look forward to the future that we can build together. And as a special gift, we are offering all of the attendees tonight a special discount to attend the upcoming 30 Under 30 Summit in Botswana by scanning the QR code up at the front. I hope to see you there.
Thank you so much, and again, a huge thank you to Forbes for partnering with us for this program and Forbes culture. We also want to give another spotlight, shout out, and I'm going to welcome Einstein to introduce our startup partner. That's where up there, Office of the President of Ghana. Please give a round of applause.
My first foray back to Ghana as an adult was at the Homecoming Summit, which was organized by the Afro President, where they sort of do these very cool to bring people back home and help champion folks who came back with the motherland for the continent. And for me, an enormous amount of gratitude and just appreciate for the office and for the director who made that program happen specifically. So I want just to pause and welcome Director of Afro Affairs, come by and give a few remarks to all of you who's been here about what the office is doing and how important that working is to the world. So, helping welcome the director, Christy Royal.
Thanks for this opportunity. And Christine, I know you're behind this all. Yeah, I'm so glad to have the opportunity to come here and meet all these lovely people here in New York City. And I'm happy to say a little bit about what we do, how we're doing it, and the people who are behind it and helping us to do what we can. I've been lucky. My name is Afro. I guess for the purposes of pronouncing it, the way it's pronounced in Ghana, I like to say that spice out. And it's Apesi Kewula Abedi. And I sit in the office of the president for mobilizing and engaging the diaspora. And I've been lucky, seriously lucky, to have been the chairperson of the steering committee that put together that nice program that we have, everybody talks about right now, and that is being succeeded by the Beyond the Return. But the year of return was steered and anchored to whatever we've been doing from our office with some of my staff here helping out in that direction. And we are lucky when our president came to America himself, made that clarion call to Washington, D.C. for the year of return. We got tremendous response from most especially people from Africa. And we are excited that you gave us that opportunity. Suddenly Ghana was transformed. Ghana, suddenly was appearing in all the places. Became the fourth best place to visit in the world. And Google search and others were putting it right on top as what you have to do, where you have to go to. And I'm excited that some of the things that we've been doing in the office, which is essentially to make sure that we can engage with the diaspora as well as here today. This gentleman, Einstein, is one of those guys who incidentally, patronized one of our events and has suddenly been beaten by the back and he's staying put to stay with our office to make sure that we continuously engage with the diaspora. We've been putting together programs, and that is why we are here. We went to Ohio for the Black History Month Festival, and we are here today to continue in that direction. And we are excited that I think this global startup initiative is seriously something that should be encouraged, that we know is necessary, is very, very much required, because we don't want to be left behind. Somebody like me, I would say yes, I'm an IT guy, but seriously, I'm beginning to lag behind, and we need initiatives like this to push us on. Since I've been engaged in this diaspora initiative, I'm the president, I'm afraid IT is beginning to lag behind. And encourage to go ahead so that we all pull out. But we've been there for only a short time, I will be helping out to engage in the diaspora. And I'm glad today I'm here, and one of the benefits of what we've been doing is manifested here. And the gentleman who says, yes, he's a recipient of our initiative, which is giving our citizenship to all those African Americans who will come Afro. We are excited about that. We know that it's not just bringing people home, but bringing expertise, bringing the knowledge, bringing the network, bringing all that we have been looking to do to enable us to, do something about our socio-economic development. So, on an occasion like this, it's not a long run, it's not a day for long speeches and I'm going to catch it, but I just want to say how pleased I am that you've given us this platform to be here to say a little bit about ourselves. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Director. I really appreciate you. Who here gets it going? Sure. Well, let's definitely try and make it happen if you haven't done so already. Or big to the customer. If you haven't done so, try and make it a must this year. Alright. I want to just pause for a moment, just get us into a storytelling format, right? In Ghana, my family, we come from a region in Ghana called Afro, which is in the mountains, right? And the story about how my family people of Afro actually got into that mountainous area. Basically, there was a big empire in the Ghana region called the Ashanti Empire. Does anybody know about the Ashanti Empire before? Sure, hands. What made the Ashanti Empire quite prolific was they were quite vision when it came to expansion. And what they would do is they use an economic format called comparative advantage. And for those for my economists in the room, what that means is they pick a region and they dedicate it to a certain task. So they have a region the size of like New York City, dedicated purely to agriculture. A region dedicated purely to fishery. A region dedicated purely to laxative work, to just like to every aspect of economic development, right? And they use this kind of format and grow the empire prolifically. And the region that my people come from was dedicated to like warriorship and you know and battle for and expansion. Of course, I would say that. And what happened was the regional sort of border where we come from sort of came out also the king or the emperor, saying that look, I think this empire expansion is getting a bit too much. Right? I think we can expand in a different way. And for those who know much about African history, African global history in general, whenever you go and you give a different aspect to the emperor, if he agrees with you, that's wonderful. If he doesn't agree with you, that's almost like war against him, right? That's how they perceive it. So when that, like my great ancestor was that opinion beforehand, and the emperor didn't agree with it, it was almost like war against him. So he immediately had to get his people together, and he had to sort of like go to different areas to escape from what could be a very bad like bloodshed and warfare. And to protect his people, what he did was he found the highest habitable point in Ghana, which is the Crow Mountains, and took the people there. For those who know much about military strategy, when you have a high point, you're able to fend off a much larger opposition. Unfortunately for my ancestor, that mountainous region had lions, tons of lions around that place. And there's a funny story. When you go to my hometown, those who visit Ghana, can't touch it, you can go check it out. There's a very famous story about how my ancestor sort of cleared the area of all these lions. Right? And what he did was, according to the oral story, what he did was he went to where the pride lions were, and went to the alpha lion and was like, let's fight and make sure who this area belongs to. And according to history books, he fought the lion, fought the lion, beat the lion up, did a whole bag and just like put the whole cloak in and everything. And then all the other lions kind of bowed down and he made that place his home, of course. But what actually happened was far different from what the family tried to tell us, right? And they say that when I did some proper investigation, apparently my ancestor found out that lions hate to set the time of self-frequency. So he got bells built out of grass, and he put these bells in strings across different parts of the region, and slowly started expanding the threads and the ropes further and further away. By hitting the bells, the lions can't stand the sound, and slowly, over a period of like 2 years, moved away from that region completely. It's not as cool and as sexy as fighting the lion one-on-one, but I think it's a much more powerful story. And the reason why I share this story is because we always look at technology that's taking place right now as this huge force that can transform the world. And it's true, it's very important. But the goal of technology is tech is just a tool. Innovation is the goal. The whole aim is how we use these technologies to really innovate and improve our life. And my vision and hope for this program, Future, is to help us as a people learn about technology and become more innovative to use it to tackle the challenges that we face in the world, whether it's unemployment, climate change, inequality, all kinds of storms, regional collapses. How we tackle these problems with technology and using our innovative practices to simplify these issues. So I want us to keep that in mind as we move forward with this program. And again, a big round of applause to my director. It's been very informative, very just instrumental in my connection back to my country. That's also proud and very happy to be here. Thank you all very much. I'm going to pass the mic to Christine.
Thank you so much. And of course,
Definitely want to shout out another guest of honor, Senator Kevin Parker, who we'll be hearing from later on. Can we give him a round of applause as well? And the next speaker later on today. Now, I'm so excited to now pass this over to Jabari Young. He's the Forbes senior editor of Forbes magazine. Can you please give him a round of applause as he starts?
Thank you so much. On behalf of Forbes and Seth and Natalie, we couldn't be here because COVID. Christine says COVID doesn't matter. COVID still matters, though. Okay, COVID still matters. We had to guess people out because of COVID. But this was so wonderful. Seeing all of you back in person, this is great. I love the outfits. For the people in the back by the bar, I need y'all to kind of keep it down a little bit. People in the back by the bar, keep it down a little bit. People in the back by the bar, keep it down a little bit. Keep it down a little bit. I know the alcohol's flowing, and it's promise we'll be there. We'll be there. But right now, I'd like to bring to the stage my guest and guest to you all. Dr. Lisa Coleman, who is the Chief Diversity Officer at NYU, for our panel to discuss influencing the role of Black influencers in today's digital society, how far it can take us, the value of it, changing policy, changing public narrative. It's a very good conversation. I know I had a great time speaking to Dr. Coleman just on the phone. We was going for like 30 minutes, so I know this conversation will extend that much. And for the people by the bar, people by the bar, we don't need you to calm down. We don't need you to calm down, right? People by the bar, don't have to tell the bartender to do more alcohol. You don't want that. You don't want that. People by the bar, please keep it down. Because Dr. Coleman told me to tell y'all, she knows she's gonna come up there, she's gonna do nothing enough, it's gonna be a problem. Dr. Coleman, please come to the stage. You know, listen, this is my first, they go talking to me. This is my first Afro Future Summit, and I hope this is the first of many. Someone was just telling me they might do one in Africa in October, and I'm like, really? Let's do it! But we won't get the money yet, that's a different story, but we're going to try to make it happen. But anyway, tonight, talking about influencers, right? Because when you pick up your phone now, and everybody got their phone out, right? You go on social media, you go on Twitter, there's Instagram, you just see them. The influencers, there they are, in your face, putting videos out, doing it all, right? And that's great, because that's a revenue opportunity, but there's also a responsibility that comes with influence, and that responsibility is shaping public narrative, right? Helping policy change, shifting the conversation to how we tackle Black wealth. And this is why I'm so very happy to have Dr. Coleman here. So I will start this conversation off with Dr. Coleman and ask you, when the word influencer comes to mind, right? What's your definition? What does it mean?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Christine, for inviting me to a number of these events. And of course, guys, and of course, to you and Forbes for your sponsorship and partnership. When I think about influence, I think about Black economics. I think about innovation. I think about excellence. I think about the ways in which there's future possibilities that have yet to be imagined. And so influence to me is about the who, what, the where, the when, and the how, right? And to go back to what Einstein was saying earlier, right? His ancestry changed how we might respond to lions and influenced nature and how we might work in cooperation with nature, right? He didn't kill the lions. I actually like the second story, right? Because he didn't kill the lions. He incorporated the lions, just put them a little bit to the side and said, lions, you got your space, I got my space. And we're gonna live in cooperation with one another, right? And that's influence to me. And so as I think about Black excellence, particularly global Black excellence, we see those influences everywhere. So I'll just give one little story. So I get to travel the world. I have a very excellent job. And so I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit. But I've been all over the continent, been all over the Caribbean, right? As Christine asked the questions, I was one of the people who raised my hand and said, yes, I've been here, been there, been there. So I was in a retreat because I get to do that kind of work. So I was in a retreat and I was with these kids, right? These little kids. I work in higher education, as you know, with this institution called New York University. So I'm with these kids, and there's a group of kids, there was this little boy, and he was collecting computer parts, used computer parts, right from the garbage. And he builds new computers, right? Took the computer parts from the garbage and built new computers. I run hackathons. We run hackathons. Right? That's why we're doing this work. And then I watched these 14-year-olds. Right? So after they took the computer parts and built little phones they could use, then they loaded 30,000 images of mold. You know mold on your skin? Because what we know is there's something called ethnic and racial disparities in health, and this happens globally. And melanoma manifests itself differently in Black people than it manifests itself in white people. Okay? And there's not a lot of study of that. So what these kids did was load the images of the moles into the phone so you could take a picture of your mole and then contrast it against melanoma, and then you know whether you should go to the doctor. 14 to 17 years old. This is what I think about when I think about So when I think about influence, I think about the future, I think about possibilities. I am in higher education. Sometimes some other people try to recruit me. And I love the work that I get to do with youth in higher education because I get to see these kinds of Black excellence and possibility. So again, influence for me is the who, the what, the when, the how, and the where, and then how do we visualize those possibilities.
What you did, man? You by the bar, calm down. Please lower your voice.
He's gonna come get you now.
Yeah. Colby told me she's gonna get y'all. People by the bar, please lower your voice. I will do this all night. Please lower your voice. Please, please, please. Thank you. Be courteous of the speaker. Are you an influencer? Yeah. You know, how many social media followers do you have?
I am a humble servant.
A humble servant. Okay.
I am a humble servant of the greater good.
Speaking of that, what role does academia play in today's social media influencer, digitally, what role does NYU play?
So I'll tell you a little bit about NYU and then I'll talk about higher education very large. NYU is the largest private institution in the United States. So when you think about public institutions, for those of you who think about like the Ohio State or Michigan or the Texas system, right, the big systems, we're big like that, but we're private. We're the most international institution in the United States. That means we have the most students who are from different countries, the most faculty, etc. We have campuses where you never have to come to New York. You can go to campus, you can go to school in Abu Dhabi, you can go to school in Shanghai, you can go to Ghana. You can go to Paris, take a semester or two, 13 different campuses, and then 25 centers. So when I say get to travel, we have a research center in Athens, Dublin, no matter where you want to go and study. So when I think about higher education and education in general, who education is we are the producers of knowledge. So I say that again. Sometimes when people ask if the bottom line is in corporate America, everybody knows the bottom line in corporate America is money, profits, right? KPIs, all that. But when I ask my counterparts in higher education what the bottom line is, they're like, I don't know, stupid. I don't know. What I know is that we produce knowledge. And how do I know that? I work at NYU, but I used to work at this other institution. You might have heard of it. It's in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's called Harvard. And so...
Dr. Colby wanted this stunt right here. She was the first chief diversity officer at Harvard, too. So you gotta give her get your flowers.
Like I said, I'm a humble servant. And so, right, but what I know is that production of knowledge is very important in terms of then how we understand Blackness, how we understand the world. And so as producers of knowledge, right, the academy is very important in how that knowledge gets produced and reproduced. right? And so for me, part of the reason I stayed in higher education is we had to produce new knowledge. I have this article that I wrote. Everybody wanted COVID. Let's return to the normal. And the normal wasn't so great. Health disparities, global polarization, right? The ways in which the extraction of resources from the continent and from places like Haiti. We need a new different. We need to approach things differently. Where Black's excellence is centered. Where people understand that Africa is 5 times the size of the United States. Right, where those maps don't reflect that. So I think as I think about higher education, it's the responsibility to reimagine the narrative, but also to provide the opportunities for those narratives to be reimagined. And part of the reason that I said these other campuses that we have, and I'll end this, is that one of my goals is to make sure that we have reciprocal relationships. A lot of times when higher education or other industries, corporations go out and partner, it looks a little like something called colonialism. Right? Or imperialism, right? We go in, we're the savior, we do whatever we're going to do. And what I really like to think about is how are we talking about reciprocity? What is that share and give and exchange in these partnerships? And so that, for me, is what the power of higher education is, but also the danger. And so I'm trying to make sure that we're in the positive zone.
Yeah. In the conversation that we had, you mentioned a phrase, it's called Afro-futurism. I love that. And Afro-futurism, I know, I said, Dr. Cook, what does that mean? What is Afro-futurism? What is that? And instead of me trying to pretend like I memorized the definition, although I did, I'm gonna let you explain what is Afro-futurism.
So I just want to give a shout out to a dear colleague of mine, Alondra Nelson. She's part of the Obama Biden administration in science and technology. The Biden administration is actually
Hold on. We still notice that there are people at the bar who might be talking too loud. Please calm down your voice. People at the bar. People at the bar. Thank you. Go ahead.
So I was just giving a shout out to my colleague, Alondra Nelson, who's written a couple books on this idea of Afrofuturism, and it's really about, right, Black excellence in the future. So I'm going to contrast this with an example. I just got back from Saudi Arabia. I'm a little jet lagged, so if I confuse my sentences, please forgive me. So I was in Saudi Arabia. Has anybody heard of this place called Neon? Okay? Heard of this? All right? So I went to the exhibition, all right? So I'm talking a little bit about Neon first. So David Adjaye, do people know who David Adjaye is? Okay, so David's one of the architects behind this, okay? So in this region, in between sort of Yemen, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, they're building a new city. Some people say a new country, but it's a new city. The new city will be 33 times the size of New York City. Right, okay, so it's going to be 30, let me say that again. It's going to be 33 times the size of New York City. There will be 9 million people initially put into this city. It will be an eco-friendly system, smart city where you never have to leave, regenerated water, electricity, solar, etc. When I'm in that region, do you know who they're not thinking about? The United States. I measure the world often by clocks. I think about clocks, because when you're in different countries, you have clocks on the wall. Do you all know what I'm talking about, right? So if you're in London, you might see a clock, the clock's on the wall, you see a clock for the US, a clock for France, a clock for the UK. When you're in the UAE or Saudi Arabia, these places, there's no clock for the US. There's a clock maybe for London, clock maybe. There's no clock. Because the world, right, the world that they're creating and imagining is about the excellence that they will be able to do. And do you know the countries they're most interested in partnering with? Africa. Why? Because of the potential, because of smart cities. I believe that Nigeria might just be Wakanda, right? There might be peeing under the streets, right? And as we think about the possibilities, I think that Neon is just the beginning of what Black excellence, brown excellence, and smart cities in the world of the future is going to look like. So when I think about Afrofuturism, it is intersectional, it is reimagining Blackness out of a deficit model to the possibilities, to the asset, to the future generations. generations, and to those kids who are creating those computers out of recycled parts. You can't compete with that. You just have to embrace it and move with excellence as it moves you.
You know, post-pandemic, you know, we always talk about, and I know during the pandemic, people was always mentioning the phrase, what's the new difference, right? What's this new different going to be? What's it going to be like in New York? What's it going to be like in Africa? What's it going to be like in Ghana and Haiti? What is this new different going to be, right? We're still still unfolding, but we're in 2023 now, right? Next month, we'll be 3 months in. What's the new different look like to you, and how does that tie into Afro future, right? How does that tie into the digital age, Black excellence, Black influences, right? What do we know now in this new different? How's it going to impact us to make us better?
Well, to go back to Afrofuturism, right, this is about who is the future. So the other good thing is I get to see who the future is, right? I get to work with these young people. Younger generations are not like older generations. They just aren't. So I get to work with C-suite people and they're like, oh my gosh, those millennials, that Gen Z, the alphas, they're destroying our companies. They're messing everything up. What we also know is that emerging generations are the most diverse, and we have more Black people, right? We have more brown people, right? So we're messing everything up. And what I say is how you frame something is what you get. So if you frame Generation Z as your problem, you get a problem. If you frame Black people as your problem, if you frame me as your problem, you got a problem. So what I want to talk about is how do we reframe in terms of thinking about assets for our future. And that means to think about young and emerging talents from millennials through Gen Z to the alphas and the betas have been born, right? The betas are alive. And so how are we harnessing that energy? How are we thinking about not just space, right? Not just space and Mars, but actually when Christine said that, I didn't know she meant space like outer space. I thought she meant design space, right? I was excited to be in conversation with fortunately, my fellow panelists. When we think about space and design and reimagining spatial systems and spatial locations, right? We have, people know in New York City you have access to air rights sometimes if you own an apartment, etc. Right? It's about space management and space allocation. So I'm very interested in how space is reimagined for Black people. Black people have not been invited into spaces in many ways, let alone designing those spaces. So when we think about the future, whether it's AI, ChatGPT, robotics, my first degrees are in science, computer science. And so I think that for us is how do we not just influence that, but how do we own it? Right? How do we own those? And that's about our future. And I think that's investing in emerging individuals. And that's not just through higher education, right? That's through some of the certification programs, that's through some of the entrepreneurial labs that are run, etc. And I know you're going to ask me about that, too far down that road. But that's the kind of harnessing that needs to happen. Now, I'm not saying we don't have to harness some older people, right? I'm not out yet, I'm a Gen X. And I don't mind getting older, actually. I really actually kind of love it. It's really good, right? And I say the other thing is, to really think about cross and trans-generational collaborations. And I don't think we think enough about that, right? I think in the Black community, we have the values sometimes that others don't have. We actually do value community. So how do we double down on that and utilize and leverage that as part of our Black excellence and part of that trans-generational and cross-generational?
I mean, listen, I want to celebrate the Black excellence part of it, but it's Forbes back here, so there's a business element to it, because everybody in this room like to make. How many people in this room want to make money, raise your hand? Y'all like making rich. Nobody will like making money. I was gonna say, y'all like making money? At the same y'all like making money? Right? Everybody like making money, right? How do we tie it into business? Because people at the bar, you ready to wrap up? People at the bar, thank you. How do we make money through this, right? Because we talk about what we see overseas. We talk about how we were getting left behind. It's always the same conversation every year without fighting. And it's like, okay, in 2023, how do we get ahead? Because when I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, last month, I heard a phrase that was very powerful for me. It was a brother, he said, black people have been non-profit to death, right? What about for-profit? Like, how do we make money from our body? How do we make money from our ecosystem? How do we make more money from the social influence and all of the digital aid? What do you find under academia that would take to that?
And by the way, I teach in a business school. Don't get it twisted now. I'm all about the capital.
That's why I asked you about the money.
You know, about the money all day, every day. And so when we think about the economics, right, and I think this is why I said that about the asset model, is that we have to really dig into these assets. And I think far too long, blackness has been defined through deficit, right? Whether it's deficit of country, deficit of extraction, deficit of individuals in higher education, all of those kinds of things, right? It's shifting that narrative. Certainly it's not easy. But the reality is the world is shifting. The world, okay, so I do these maps, okay? And the maps show what is happening globally, right? So what's happening globally is there's this thing which is called the blackening and browning of the world. It's very, so you can look at a map of Europe, for instance, and the system, the ecosystem is shifting. I like to use New Zealand as an example, Auckland, New Zealand, because Auckland, New Zealand was a place, right? If you've been in New Zealand, the ancestry there was very European white, very from the north to the south. And now if you're in Auckland, it's 3/5 people of color. People of color that nobody's ever heard of. People from Africa, people all from the region. And what are we seeing? The economic shift of that country as a result. And so that is where when I think, first of all, we've got demography on our side. It's just shifting. Now, I also know there's something called apartheid in South Africa. So I do know that we have to really dig down deep and think about the politics and the economics. So how do we leverage, right, that power of the democracy? And I think that's global multi-sector partnerships, right? We sometimes exist in these narrow sort of silos
to get from this and this here.
and unless we can really begin to do these multi-sector, multi-dimensional partnerships, I have partnerships, I know you're gonna ask me this, but I'll just say this now. I got partnerships in Africa, I got partnerships in
I've only
South
been
Africa,
around with Asians.
also with
So I want to
others,
expand
and also with multinational corporations and NGOs. And that's what it's going to take, to shift not just narrative, but economic possibilities. I wish it was just corporate America alone. I wish corporate America could do it alone. But one of the things that you asked me before about higher education, you know what corporate America cites all the time?
Why?
Harvard Business Review.
You never know that.
Princeton, whatever.
That's true.
Right? Higher education.
I was expecting some kind of
And that's why I said that link between the production of knowledge and the production of economics and wealth. There is a direct line. And so those partnerships are needed to truly reverse and recorrect the ways and the directions that we've been having. But what we've been trying to do is, okay, higher education, let's educate some people.
So
Corporate America, let's put $5 million on black business.
So I'm beginning of my
Do you know how much it would take to change the narrative of black business? How would UBS for time?
I realize
$500 billion black people and investments.
because like I said,
So that means you need partnerships that we've never imagined.
some of their ways.
And I'm excited. That's why I'm excited about the new generations. I have a job.
That wasn't my goal
When I was a
from
kid,
there,
since
but
postdoc,
you make a
it
very
went
good
away.
point.
I don't know,
You
it
make
was
a very
blue,
good point, like emulating.
went somewhere, and it was like super thin. And now, right,
I think
little John in India
cater
is
to
talking to
the
little
system.
Susie in
I
Indiana.
have one good
And
friend.
talking to little Mikey in
And
South
I don't have
Africa.
one good
And
friend
talking
because
to
this person,
little
they're
Bobby.
grinding on their
And hey,
own.
they're like,
I don't have people drinking, smoking,
right?
playing games, something.
And they,
What a movie
right,
that's
can change
what
the
the
world
here.
as long as
In
we
America,
use
yes.
the tools. But what does that look like to
Oh, no, they're not here today.
mirror those partnerships
Oh, I work.
through
Oh, okay.
business and
Okay,
industry,
okay.
and
Right,
not
right.
just
No,
through
curious. She's
social
another good friend,
media.
so continue.
That is what I think
Okay,
it
you
will
want to
take
continue.
to change
The
the
point I'm
wealth
making is
and
I
knowledge
want to get
structures.
a different set of
And that
people
is,
around.
that's not easy, and we have to get better
I've been
at
told I'm a
partnering
good
and not seeing ourselves
And
as
when I'm in a room,
competitors.
that makes me feel as if, okay, they're complimenting me. Are you happening in what I can do? Well, think about it.
let's do, obviously, 2023, off to a good start.
Okay, I'm seeing the light just shining in this room.
And I wish Matt was here, because I would love to
It's like I'm
know
a
the
small
governmental
fish in a
side
big
of it.
ocean. There's a lot of big fishes.
But still, as I end this conversation, I'd like to challenge you all in the room to do something. And I learned this from Dr. Cole, and I know I'm going to do it. And that is,
It's going good so far. I like to be.
you say it. Unless you want me to say it, I'll say
Because
it.
you never
Yeah, I'll say
You say
it.
one thing to me that makes a research something
One
that
small
leads
act
me
of
to
kindness
know.
versus somebody that you may have a disagreement with.
So that's how I go to people I know
It's
this
a powerful
morning.
thing.
I was talking
One
to
small
this guy
act
in
of
the
kindness
back.
for somebody you might have a
He say something to
disagreement
me.
with in our ecosystem, right? And next year, back in this room, I want you all to write down on a piece of paper what you did. And what the result was. I guarantee it's going to be powerful. But until then, reach out to Dr. Cole with any questions right away at NYU. I know I definitely will. I enjoy the conversations I've had with all of you all enjoy this panel tonight. It's giving you an insight of the future of Black social influence, the future of the digital age, what's coming, ways that we can capitalize off of it, and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for listening to it.
Thank you so much. People like experiences, no stability. Before what? Before you were youth counselor.
Please, we can do better now. Another round of applause for the house of Gala. Thank you so much.
Went to Ethiopia.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was my discussion.
Ivory Coast for the summer.
And a couple of people asked, if you guys have questions, can we engage networking questions? You guys all have questions, but no worries. All right, so now let's transition to the next component of the agenda. So we want to spotlight our awardees. This is what we're here for tonight, right? The Afro Youth Summit Awards Gala. Let's get excited. Here we go. All right. So to kick this off, I would like to welcome back back to the stage to help me kick off the awardees. So please give me a warm welcome to the Director of Diaspora Affairs and Office of President of Gala. Please a warm welcome. And please, can we have Lucy to the stage to help us welcome? Can you come to the stage? Lucy?
Is that the goal here?
And we're gonna kick off. Now, I want to begin by saying, and Einstein to the stage as well. I'm gonna kick off the awarding section. Einstein and Tim. So I want to kick off the section by saying that these are honorable mentions. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how amazing these influences are for us to kick off in honor and showcase tonight. I'll start with our first honoree of the night. Can we please, energy, can we please give some respect to the room? If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you hear me, clap once, clap twice. Clap once, clap twice. Be here. Awesome. Thank you. So I will start by kicking off the first honoree of the night. The wonderful, wonderful Dr. Claire Nelson. She's the Chief Ideation Lead of the Futures Forum. And I have watched her over the past years not only inspire the Caribbean diaspora, but she is a force. Has anyone ever seen Dr. Nelson speak? She is a force to begin with. Her passion about diaspora, Black future, and our capacity for building great societies is unmatched. Take a look at what she's done. Can we put the volume up?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her to the stage. Quick photo. Congratulations.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Keep on dreaming, keep on daring, working for the future I want. Now, very quickly, you know there's nowhere in the world you can go and meet about this one Jamaica. Well, I was the first Jamaican on the moon back in 2036. Now, how I got there is a very long story. And on the way I kissed a lot of frogs and made a lot of friends and partners. And one of them, or two of them, was inimitable Christine team and her husband Isaac. You see, they had a vision that clicked with my vision. And when I saw the things that they were doing in space and all that, I said, but they can't leave me behind. So I jumped up and I started my space agenda. And right now, friends, well, right now back in 2022, I just come back from Kenya, where I'm about to get started in launching the first analog space research mission in the deserts of Love in Kenya. Because the future of space exploration not going to happen without people like me. No, not because I come from a small island, not at all. Everything it is, me have to be in the red. Now folks, they have to come to see it because I'm so much clearly I've been broke. But I just want to say, I take this honor as a very special honor indeed. For when the poor people honor you, you know so you reach. And Christine, I want to let you to know that I take this honor as a family. For example, and I put the work in Ghana with all the Asian universities and build a space over here too. And furthermore, I take it to mean that from Global Christine, not you just honor for what in the past, but what you want to continue to do in the future. And I want you to say how proud I am of you. A young lady, woman from the small island nation of Haiti. And big her up. Because you come from small island, being a small people. No, we're bigger than we can imagine. And let me give you a warning. I am working to ensure that we build smart futures and flourishing world for all humanity. Thank you so much for this. Thank you. Thank you. Another round of applause for Dr. Claire Nelson. Now, I'm sure you felt that. I'm sure, is everyone felt that? Let's continue. So our next honoree, I'm sure you've seen her on social media. You've seen her at tech events across the United States. I mean, she's a force. When she shows up, she shows up. Can we give a warm welcome to the Honorable Caroline Wanda, President and CEO of Essence Ventures. Let's take a look at her journey and give her a warm welcome to the stage. Look at her, please. Let's get the applause going. Thank you so much.
Please give her another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Salutations, melanated families. Salutations. To my young people at the Boston was talking, I just thought we might so people know they're having a conversation. I hope that one of the things that I live by, exist within, aim to evangelize, is that as we had this conversation about what Afrofuturism means, and I love what Dr. Coleman said, and believe that we don't need to feel limited in how we choose to define it. The way that I think about Afrofuturism is the world in which blackness is returned to greatness at its full value. It is not a world. It is not a world where we make up for some kind of deficit. It's not a world where people help us. It's not a world where we ask for help. It's not a world where those who may be less melanated have more power than us. It's not a world where we need any sustenance from the rest of the globe. It is the world where the pilfering of our culture, the pilfering of our resources, the pilfering of our family units, the pilfering of our community, the pilfering of our goods, the pilfering of our services, the pilfering of our generational knowledge is returned at full value with interest.
Let's go.
That work, that time, and that possibility is now. It is not 10 years from now. It is not 30 years from now. Because if we plan for the world to be where blackness is returned to greatness in 30 years, then your unborn grandchild is only getting what you have now. And you should be concerned about that. I know there are things we are still fighting to have be seen at equity and function at equity. But what I need to make clear is that the obligation to move the baton further ahead than where you picked it up is something you don't have a choice not to do. I don't care what you're dealing with. Because had somebody made that decision before you, you wouldn't be able to sit here. And so the seats that you are taking up belongs to the next person. And the seat that belongs to you is in another room. So you, and the one thing that you need to do that has nothing to do with whether or not it'll be good for you is the thing you need to do now. Because if you don't advance something from what you started at, then the person coming after you cannot take their seat. And if they cannot take their seat, then the value that we own as a black community will continue to be stuck in the pipeline of our self-preservation. So I say this to you because what we are trying to do at Essence Ventures is to play our role in creating a global black economic engine that has boundaryless opportunity for commerce, frictionless opportunity for us to be able to create black wealth, and is a live, unaccommodating place for black community to gather without having another team to explain it to the business. So my friends, my sisters, my brothers, my only ask of you, and I tried to channel my black futurism over here. I tried. But what I will tell you, my aesthetic is not fashion, it's armor. And I hope that you know what your weapons need to be. Because the journey to deliver blackness to greatness starts with you. It ends with you, and it'll become what it is supposed to become because of you. I love you dearly, but I fully believe that without any other help, this Afro future we're trying to create can be true tomorrow. Do you?
I'm still here.
What we did in Gala, that's just about that.
Yes, I would say I have those qualities, but I know I want to. But you know, sometimes when you say a lady,
I'm sorry.
she even gonna think about me if I try to talk to her. So getting over that, I can talk to anybody as long as I initiate.
Another round of applause to honoring Caroline Ranga. I'd like to welcome back to the stage Einstein and Tim to announce our final awardee of the night. Please give him a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we get a round of applause for Caroline and the players all together? Can we have these couple of moments to get the noise level to a nice level? Can we get the noise a little bit lower so anyone can take this moment in properly, please? Alright. I want to take this moment myself and actually just say a big thank you. First of all, in the room, so a big thank you to the director, Chrissy, and what I do. That's supporting me on my journey, being a mentor, a great guide, which is why I specifically wanted to highlight the incredible work that you've been doing so far.
Wearing outfits that
For Ghana, for Africa, for the diaspora around the world, and we get so let's have a quick moment to just like see the director in action. In Ghana, around the world, and keep going forward despite the challenges, despite difficulty, just keep pushing forward because what you do is big. I'm a thank you very much for what you're doing. For that. So to everybody, Director Chrissy, a warm welcome here. Thank you so much.
I love that first lady shared the salary.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our wonderful honorees. Please, a final round of applause to Dr. Claire Nelson.
Right.
Futurist, Chief Ideation Leader of the Futures Forum, Caroline Blanca, CEO of Exit Ventures, and Equesia Ramio, Director of Diaspora Affairs, Office of the President of Ghana. Final round of applause to our awardee tonight. And there's more honors to be given. We're not done yet. I want to give a warm welcome. Can you please get a round of applause to Kevin Parker, New York State Senator. The New York State Senate is in the building. Please give a warm welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen.
Black History Month. That class would be better than that. Let's go. I know y'all don't know what I am, but it's fine. It's okay. I'm State Senator Kevin Parker. I represent the 21st District of Brooklyn. I'm the chairman of the Energy and Telecommunications Committee in the New York State Senate, as well as the majority whip of the New York State Senate. Before I begin, I'd like to ask everybody to stand up real quick.
All right, all right.
I've been sitting here for half an hour, probably 40 minutes. Just get a little stretch on. So I want to do a quick ceremony. We have so many people of African descent here. And it is Black History Month. I'm going to do a quick libation. Okay? So, in traditional African culture, it is very prevalent for us to, in fact, show reverence to our ancestors. Ashe, amen? All right. And so, it's important that we do that when we have an opportunity. We can't talk about the future without acknowledging the past. Right? And those of you from Ghana are familiar with Sankofa. He tells us to go fetch, right? As my father used to say, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? And if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And so in this moment, we're going to do a quick honoring of our ancestors. First, I'm going to drink some water. You never give anything to the ancestors or the deity that you have not consumed yourself. That is just a sharing. This is not just a giving. And so we say only two. So it means that I cool my road. I cool the weight in front of us. I cool the communication between us and the ancestors. I cool up all of our ancestors. That even as our ancestors who made a way for us to be here at this place at this time, so we remember them when we say our shame. Our mothers and fathers, they were the first to see the dead and the first to discover the night. And so for them, we say our shame. For the empires of Kemet and Nubia, for Timbuktu, for Ghana, for Mali, for Sanghe, we say our shame. For all the mothers who protected us and prayed for us. Those who went to war and fought for us, for them we say Ashe. And for all of the ancestors that belong to us individually, we're going to call on their names. I want everybody to call the names of your ancestors, people who have passed in your life and who are important to you that you know continue to work on your behalf and think about, come on, the way people call the ancestors too, let's go, real bad ancestors. Go ahead. So I'm going to say it first. Georgia Elizabeth Parker. Ashe. Come on. Don't be shy and say it out loud. Ashe. Ashe. Come on. The only people. Ashe. So, everybody can be seated. If we're going to talk about what Africanism means, we can't take the African out of Africanism. If we're going to start talking about connecting with cultures and continents, we can't disconnect ourselves from culture. Right? Culture is the framework that defines. And particularly when we talk about Africa, we're talking about a civilization that's been around, frankly, longer than we can count. As I told my students at Brooklyn College all the time, it is important that when we study African people, we understand that we were the first person, but we were also the last person. So when you look at the first person that they found in humanoid form was old, right? Europeans found it, they started calling her Alice. I think her name was probably Keisha, but they called her Alice, right? And it was also Pisticus, right? They found her in East Africa, right? But the most important thing is Homo sapiens. The oldest form of Homo sapiens, sapien, is also found on the continent of Africa. And so that when we start talking about the notions of art and science and medicine and business and poetry and political science, All of those things existed before we were brought here. And so we don't get caught up during African American History Month saying, oh, everything started in 1690, right? We understand the date and we look at that, but we also understand that it started before. That African people did not land on Plymouth Rock, no, land in Virginia, Tabula Rasa, or they say in Latin, or plain say. They were actually brought here because they had culture. They had understanding of the world. They were born here because they knew how to work. They knew agriculture. They knew architecture. Right? And how long have they known it? Well, one of my favorite authors, Zikwe Mama, says in his book 2,000 Seasons. Everybody check out 2,000 Seasons? Check this book out. He says if you want to understand how long African people have been on our planet, he said you would need to go to the ocean. And he said on your way to the ocean, you need to walk on the sand and you would need to count each grain of sand, grain by grain. And after you finish counting every grain of sand at the ocean, only then would you start to understand how many seasons African people have been on this planet. He said, because then you would have to walk down to the water and you would have to count the drops of water in the ocean, drop by drop. And after you finish counting all those drops of water, only then add that to the numbers of grains of sand, only then will you have some inkling of how long African people have been here. He said, but then you would have to look up and look into the sun and count every ray of sun, of every ray of sunlight, ray by ray. And when you add that to the drops of water and the grains of sand, that's how many seasons African people have been on this planet. And so we have to understand ourselves in a continuum and understand that anything that can be done, we've already done it, and thus we can do it again. And so in this moment, as we start thinking about ourselves in the future, we must connect ourselves to who we were in the past. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. If you look at your like capitalism and you're looking for another economic system, there are tons of African cultures that had economic systems that were based in things other than capitalism. If you're looking for another language to speak, over 2,000 distinct languages are spoken on the continent of Africa today. Every single major religion in the world can find its roots on the African continent. Every single one. And so here we are on the precipice of doing what we have already done. Of not inventing ourselves, but reinventing ourselves. Because we have already been to the future. And we must speak it because in Yoruba they call it al-koshe. That we have to speak things into existence. Right? We know that God created himself by speaking and herself by speaking his sacred name into the universe. And when he stepped out of nothingness, he stood on the square of Ma'at and declared the universe to be perfect. Which is a different concept than original sin. If everything is based in Ma'at, that means there's truth and balance and righteousness and rightfulness and order. And that's the kind of society, the kind of understanding that we're from. And so those of you who are looking for Wakanda, Wakanda's always existed. And it's existed in your cultural memory. But as a New York State Senator, I will also tell you that Wakanda exists right now in the state of New York. That no place in the country do you see as many people of African descent running the government as you see here in the state of New York. Where you have an African-American Attorney General, an African-American Lieutenant Governor. When I first got to the state legislature 20 years ago, we used to talk about 3 men in the room. There were 3 white guys who kind of decided everything, the governor, the speaker of the assembly, and the head of the Senate. Now the 3 men in the room are 2 women and a black guy. You have a black mayor, a black public advocate, a black speaker of the city council here. You have more black women serving in the New York State legislature than any other legislature in the history of the United States. Right this minute. And so the future is now. That anything that you're looking to do, you can do it here in the state of New York. And there's money to be made. State of New York, we're in the middle right now of the budget process. We have a budget process that goes from April 1st to March 31st. We have the third largest budget in the entire country. It's the federal government, the state of California, and the state of New York. This year, our enacted budget will be in excess of $227 billion. Right? Like Gala. $227 billion. Like, there's a lot of money. Now, this is the best news about that money. This is the best news.
Talk to me.
It's your money.
Okay.
It's your money. Unless you're not paying the taxes. Anybody here not paying the taxes? All right, that was a trick question. Okay. I'm not mad. My girl was up back there raising her hand. She's like, no, I'm not paying them. Right? And so in the context of that $227 billion, everything the state of New York doesn't produce itself, it contracts out. That's upwards of $30 billion a year. We spent over $30 billion last year, we're going to spend over $30 billion this year, we're going to spend over $30 billion next year. And even though black people in the state of New York are well over 18% of the population, we represent less than 5% of those who are receiving contracts from the state of New York. Your money. To understand how big this is, if New York was its own country, we'd be the 12th largest economy in the world. And that's your money. And if that wasn't enough, the city of New York, check this, is the 4th largest budget in the entire country. The city of New York, just the city, has a budget in excess of $100 billion, which means that the city of New York has a budget larger than 48 states, including Texas and Florida, which have populations larger than the state of New York. And know what money that is? My money, no, it's your money too. So when you add, and they're going to do upwards of $25 billion. So we're talking about somewhere around $55 billion worth of contracting opportunities for people who live in the city and live in the state. And yes, you can use some of that money to do partnerships in Africa. In fact, the Empire State Development Corporation, which is the flagship economic development entity for the state of New York, has offices in 29 countries. And we need to bring one to West Africa. What's up? What we doing? And so that's the conversation that I came here to let you know the state of New York is open for business. That I would love to work with people in this room to develop trade missions between people in the state of New York and various parts of the continent in order to talk about how do we partner to build trade. And the same way that we're seeing gentrification in black communities across this country and in this city, you're starting to see it in Africa. Let's keep it real. Time to hear me talk. And if we, the people in this room, don't in fact take the time, use the effort, and exploit the opportunity that exists right now to partner with our own people across this globe, before we look up, it'll be too late. So now is the time. And the people and the leaders that you're looking for are you. And so I'm here not to offer advice, but to extend my hand in partnership, to work with all of you, to make sure that we continue to take care of ourselves, and make sure that we don't get a piece of the pie, but we continue to do what we've always done, which is bake our own pie. Remember, African people, you are the people who are here the day before yesterday, and you're going to be the people who are going to be here the day after tomorrow. So all of us must continue to bring good into the world and let no good be lost. God bless you all. I'd like the honorees, before honorees to come up real quick. As a New York State Senator, I actually have brought some Senate proclamations that I want to present. Really, really quickly, you can stand up here on the stage. Come on, I got a job to do too. I need to get this
Can honorees please come to the stage? Dr. Clara Nelson, Caroline Warner, and Dr. Rabio. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause as we issue an official proclamation from a New York State Senator.
Give the honorees a big round of applause.
You want to go grab this photo right fast, man? Come get out of here. Say again? So you want to go grab this photo right fast? For the network, sorry.
So this one is for Christine Kim. Give her a big round of applause.
That was a surprise. Thank you so much. Senator Kevin Parker, another round of applause. And to the honorees, definitely a surprise. And I'm a New Yorker, so I feel really proud about that. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I want to now close out the night by just saying that this has truly been an amazing evening in terms of connecting all of you to just impactful and influential people who care about us as a community and care about where we're going. And I always say that, for us to host programs of this caliber, it always takes not only a community to come together, but a community of support. So I do want to issue a couple of thank yous, and I want you guys to join me in giving a warm welcome and round of applause to people that I'm going to shout out in the next couple of minutes. I first again want to give a huge shout out to our VIP patrons. Can we give them another round of applause for supporting this night and making this possible? I want to individually shout them out for John Henry, Carol Ann Rudy, keep the applause going, Victor, Clara Scott, Anthony, Andrew, Daniela May, let's keep the round of applause going. Gabriel Alisi, Philip Scott, David Gabriel, Dr. Shahey, and Anika, thank you so much. Thank you so much, FBFP President. Really appreciate it. I want to also give another round of applause to our Director of Rabio, to the Diaspora Affairs of the Office of the President. Can you give them a round of applause? And last but not least, this room, this space, Forbes. Can we give a huge round of applause to Forbes? Thank you so much for hosting us, supporting us. This would not be possible with the Forbes team. A huge shout out to Aisha Mendez, Jabari, Seth, all of you, Renee, all of you, Raven. It's been amazing working with each and every one of you. A huge round of applause to the Forbes team in the building. And finally, I want to give a round of applause to our speakers. Dr. Lisa Coleman, as always an honor to have you. Jabari Young, our moderator, that was an on-point conversation. And of course, with that said, a final round of applause to our honorees. It's been an honor saluting you tonight. You are an amazing inspiration to us all. Thank you so much. Before I pass it over to my time for concluding remarks, I want to again thank you for the spirit and energy that you guys have coming in here. As stated before, we kicked off the Afro Future Summit series to not only talk about our history, but talk about our future. We have been doing such amazing things over the past couple of years, and I know you felt the energy, I know you felt the power.
power in this room. And I know you felt that this is where it's at. We are what we wait for, and we have done such a tremendous job to really be the next forward-thinking people of our society. So I also want to say that I am a new mom. I just had a baby 8 weeks ago. And I get emotional when I bring people like you all together because I am a mom of 4 beautiful kids. And they inspire me each and every day. When people say to me, why are you up here doing this? Why are you traveling the world? Why are you doing this? I believe not only what we've done in the past, but I got 4 kids to inspire every single day. Say, you look like this because you are great. You are powerful. You are unbelievable. Don't let that tell you otherwise. Don't let data tell you otherwise. Don't let what people put on media, mainstream, tell you otherwise. We are powerful people, and know you felt that energy tonight. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being a part of this legacy, for being a part of this experience. Again, congratulations to all of you for being a part of the Afro Future Summit Awards Gala 2023. Take forward. I pass it over to Einstein to close out party and true. Einstein and Tim, please welcome Einstein and Tim to the stage.
I'd like to say I'm also a father to 4 beautiful kids as well. I don't get myself there. I didn't read my word. First of all, again, a big thank you to all the VIP patrons who made this program possible. Thank you so much. Can you get another one of the VIP guests and patrons who made this program possible? We have a surprise for you. We'll send you out to all the independents as well to let you know about the surprises. Again, another thank you to the Director of Diaspora Affairs, the team from the Diaspora Affairs who are here as well. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to Forbes and Culture. What you lot are doing is phenomenal, and thank you for making this possible as well for all of us here. Right. And also, can I get a big round of applause to Christine and Tim? Making things possible. The team who are here running things, thank you so much for your hard work and your enthusiasm and your work ethic. Thank you. To bring this program to a close, for those who don't know, I'm a poet, and I'm going to share a poem with all of you here today. And this poem, actually, I wrote this poem in China. I lived and worked in China for quite a bit, and I did some studies at a university called Nanjing University. And at the university it teaches us about a philosopher called Mencius. And Mencius says that the heart itself is a thinking organism. Actually, can we get some a moment of quiet in the room? For those who are just something, just like bring it a little bit lower. Get tempo down.
Ladies and gentlemen, please have your attention just for 2 minutes.
If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice.
Hold the bar.
Yeah, and the philosopher called Mencius says that the heart itself is a thinking organism. The same way the brain can think, the heart itself is a thinking tool as well. So this poem I wrote is called Can the Heart Think? But for those of you who are artists in the room, this is an active poem. What does that mean? It means you lot take action as well. So there'll be a point in the poem when I'll ask you guys a question. I'll say, did you hear that? And I want you to beat your chest twice. So I'll say, did you hear that? Like a heartbeat, right? Did you hear that? Did you miss that? Did you feel that? Let's try that again. Everybody in the room, right? Did you hear that? Did you miss that? Did you feel that? So the poem is, Can the Heart Think? There's more to a verse than words. There's more to love than the heart. There's more to syllables than verbs. There's so much more to your heart than just a poem. There's more to you than meets the eye. And like the heavens, there's so much more above than just the sky. Did you hear that? Did you miss that? Did you feel that? It's more than a heart. Put your heart into running. See if you run the same. Put your heart into reading. See if it reads the same. Put your heart into cooking. See if it tastes the same. Did you hear that? Did you miss that? Did you feel that? It's more than a heartbeat. So now you tell me, can the heart think? Yes. Can the heart think? No. Did you hear that? Did you miss that? Did you feel that? It's more than a heartbeat. Thank you all very much. I want to try to put our heart into all that we do. Let's try and drive the conversation about Black history and into that future. Let's make sure our diaspora connect back to the continent, and let's really put our heart into actually building a better future for all of us. Thank you all very much for coming here today. Let's have a great night of networking and get to each other on a much deeper level. Thank you all very much.
Now let's party. We're here for one more hour, so let's get drinks, let's network, let's meet each other, and let's get the music. Thank you so much, everyone.
I didn't